There's more than 50 politicians from the coast region met, regardless of party affiliation and all. Okay? These are former governors of all the counties in the coast, former senators, current governors, current senators, current cabinet secretaries from the coast, current speakers of the counties' assemblies from the coast. More than 50 of them are warming up to engagements with President William Ruto in what they say is championing for the region's development. The leaders from across the political divide attended a meeting convened by Senate Speaker Amason Kingi, who is a key pointman of the president at the coast. Among the key resolutions of the Serena Hotel breakfast meeting included crafting a framework of structured engagement with President Ruto, a move that mirrors a push by leaders from other regions in seeking development. Those present included governors from the 6 coastal counties, senators, MPs, speakers of the county assemblies, former governors too, former Governor Salim Vuria, who's now a cabinet secretary, former MP, who's now a cabinet secretary for gender. What's her name? Aisha Jumwa was also present. Now, they discussed several things. They said we want development. They also discussed the port of Mombasa, this whole issue that has been raised by the governor of Mombasa County, Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, and he talked to us when he came here, on the wanting to have clarity and to participate in the talks for concessioning of the port of Mombasa, the port of Lamu. They said even if the Shimoni port in Kwale is also given up for privatization or concessioning, the leaders want to participate in those talks. As we promised during the 2022 general election campaign, no, that's what Ruto had said. The port of Mombasa will not be privatized. Now what they're doing is they're expanding all these operations but bringing in a concessionaire. But Mombasa Governor Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir has been on the forefront opposing the resolution to privatize key facilities of the port made by the cabinet without the locals' involvement. The governor says the proposal is a clear indication that the Kenya Kwanza government is taking the people of the coast for a ride. Now they're saying, we want to meet with the president, we want to have a conversation, and this is among the issues that will be on the table.
There's a question about a warm-up to the president. If it looked like the coast region had been in a split before when it came to any kind of allegiance that would be paid to the present administration. And so that this move could be one of two things. One, that truly, the leaders from the coast region are saying we need to be united in our agitation for development along the coast. And we know that in order for us to then present these issues to an administration, we need to come together and then come as a unified front. There's the other side whereby you say, look, whether you like it or not, this is the president, this is the administration of the day. And that again, if we are going to see our issues met, then we need to embrace the man and his presidency. Engage with him. And the only way to engage with him is to, if you're on a high horse, come off it. Or if you had the sour grapes, spit them out and let's move on. But it seems like everybody is in let's move on stance here to fulfill a number of things, to put aside any rifts, and then let's move together. Because one thing, when the opening of that presser, we heard from former Governor Ali Hassan Joho. He said, regardless of our political affiliations, regardless of what parties we belong to, what parties we have come from, we have decided that the development and the issues of the coastal region are more important. And because of that, we decided to come together. And that there are some of us who are in government today. There are some of us who are very close to the president, as it were. So how about we use what we have to get what we want?
This isn't a new narrative.
It's not. Have we seen them come together like this before?
Yes. It was tried when Ali Hassan Joho himself was governor. They tried it. And they even met and talked. But then it was the governors.
Exactly.
Who were talking.
Because now
Taveta governor, Kwale governor, Lamu and so forth. Now, they've actually widened.
They've included members of the county assembly. They've included members of parliament. They've included people who say to be close to the president in the name of Amason Kingi, in the name of Salim Vuria and Aisha Jumwa, who also are sitting either speakers of Senate or at cabinet level and have said, look, let's use what we have, because finally we are a little bit more we're a little bit closer to the presidency than they've ever been before. You've not seen these numbers before.
I understand that coalition and the caucusing, because if there's one thing the coast has endured for the longest time is bad leadership. People come, talk, make promises. The county government comes along. Take a back seat and just look at the scorecard of the governors who are there. The one governor whose scorecard stood up and was shining was Mvurya. You look around, you talk, you ask. Come down to Taita Taveta and ask, what did Samboja do that you can point to and say, this is what Samboja did and this is his legacy? You come down to Mombasa, you ask, what is this that Ali Joho did, Hassan did, that you can consider to have been remarkable? You go to Kilifi, you ask Amason Kingi, what did he do that you could argue? Because all you need to do is a little arithmetic and ask yourself, how much did this person get in the years they were there? Because how many billions? What did these billions do?
That we can see.
Yes, go to Tana River. Go to Lamu. It's the same question that will be asked. But then I also ask another question. Are we saying, therefore, two things? One, that the national government will not fulfill the mandate that it has and the responsibility it has for the people of Kenya, and that the regional leaders must caucus together in order to get development? Or are we saying that the example we've seen with the handshake, where for you to be able to actually get benefit that should be your right as citizens and regions, can only come about when you seem to be cozying up to the current leadership? If that is the case, then why do we have multi-parties?
But that's a very good question, CT, that you ask. The question, though, is... and thank you for that question.
I like the question.
Eric, and I also thank you very much for thanking me about asking that thankful question, Eric. Thank you very much.
The thing is, when leaders meet, are they necessarily causing up to? Must we always translate it to that?
Yes.
If, for example, leaders meet and they say, all right, so we have a common agenda, we need to present it. We need to present a common agenda. These are the things that are on the wish list of our people. These are the things that affect us, and these are the things that we need to see a government doing. Okay? You can present them however you want to present them. But then if you say we can meet with the highest leadership of the country and present them from that level, and we are, as a caucus, we are agitating for them, it's not necessarily causing up.
Not necessarily. I think
it's presenting your agenda.
Plus, I really do think it's a situation whereby you use what you have to get what you want. Millie Odhiambo said something a few years ago that was very interesting. She said, you know what? Now that we are in the room, before we were not we're not even in the room. Now we're at the table. And we are no longer shouting. We are not making noise. We are not demanding. But now what we are doing is we are urging. You see, the language changes. That doesn't necessarily mean that I like you, or that doesn't necessarily mean that suddenly we are going to be best of friends. But I've seen a unique opportunity, and we're able to agree on these fundamentals that, look, do we all agree that the coast region, it is time where we should be able to develop across border?
It's overdue.
Yes.
It's not time. It's long overdue.
We've agreed that needs to happen. Do we say that, yes, we have leaders who, they've met the mark. They can come to the people and say, you guys can coalesce around me, give me opportunity to lead? Yes. Have we also seen that some of our leaders can be put at the national level when it comes to executive decisions? Yes, we've seen that. Have you also seen that when these leaders speak, somebody listens? Yes. Then you have this recipe for which this development that has been long sought after at the coast can actually be. You've also seen that some of these leaders would appear to be, at this table with the president, who we know, call it whatever you want to like, what you like, favoritism, what, but we know it has been said. Should you be in good books, yes, the likelihood of some kind of movement in your region then goes a couple of notches higher. So how about you use what you have to get what you want? And I see it as that.
It doesn't
mean that you're going to have to come out being besties and then suddenly hang out. No.
It's not a handshake.
No, it isn't. It is, we realize, wait, we are finally in a strategic position whereby there's more than one voice. There are many voices. They've been selected. Some of them have been handpicked. Come. So now you say, finally, now let's use this.
It's the making of a handshake.
But I'm saying it doesn't necessarily mean that you're cozying up to the presidency. It just means that
What would
we
this
see that
handshake
it's,
look
it's
like
happening.
then, City?
You see, the reason why I'm harping on this, when we say handshake, if I'm to follow the trajectory of your thinking, it has connotations. And the connotation is you've joined the government.
Yes.
Handshake is actually an agreement, an understanding. Now, if you're saying that this understanding is what is being sought, yes, unfortunately, the players who are leading this, in my mind, do not have a track record of having done anything that you can consider to be lastingly useful to their people. So, even before this thing has begun, I'm seeing it as dead.
Do we need to sprinkle you with some optimism this morning, City?
No. Opinion. It's an opinion.
You're seeing it as dead because...
Because they've tried it before and it failed.
No, it's because of the people.
What
Amazon
fails?
King is speaking, Hassan Joe is speaking.
And
about
what did they
things-
do
and
in
things
Kilifi
that
and
they could
Mombasa?
have done, and now they want to do it now.
They spoke about it even then.
And nothing happened.
Yeah.
Amazon King, was very vocal. Do you remember? He's one of the first ones who came out that time and talked about this pact from the coast and said, it is
Yes.
time.
We
need
came together.
We need to come together. He was one of the first ones
The
who
Kumbaya
did.
moment can be spoken
Even on
of.
issues of the port, for example, Alias and Joho started speaking about the port a long time ago. What is it that the people of this Mombasa County can benefit from this port? Those are conversations that happened once, twice, his businesses were shut down and all this and the other. So they try to agitate for that. They try to agitate for other things that would then be working in tandem at national level and at county level. So it's reviving that conversation and saying, okay, so we have a wish list or a demand list, whatever you want to call it. Okay? We want to have this one-on-one conversation with the president. Here is what we expect. Here is what our leaders, our people have told us. As the priority areas, we've sat together, we've listened to our people, we've all agreed that these are the 3 priority areas for the coastal region. Now we want you to focus on those. When you see Aisha Jumwa sitting at the cabinet or Salim Vuria sitting at the cabinet and they remind you of these issues, remember, these are issues that have come from the ground. When you see members of parliament from this coastal region, the deputy majority leader, who is the member of parliament for Malindi North, was it? Right? When you see Jichopevu coming and saying some things, just know that we all agree with what he has said, what he's saying.
To United Front.
Okay.
And then there's political pressure for you to deliver on these ones now, because all of us are saying the same thing.
Okay.
No handshake, just lobbying.
Okay. The question I would ask is
No, it's okay. It's okay, CT.
the
It's okay.
question. You see, whenever people get together and they're speaking about, let's look at political parties and how it is. A political party is supposed to be a unifying factor. We will have certain common understandings. I'm not going to call them beliefs. Okay? And that they are all heading in one direction. They never do. People tend to be in political parties because it suits their own agenda at that particular point in time. If a caucusing together for whatever you want to call it, an understanding, an agreement as a lobby group, suits someone's purpose at a particular point in time, they will caucus and they will present the lobbying agenda. But for me, the main agenda is, what is the agenda?
What's the private agenda?
Yes, what is it? Because what is somebody trying to protect? What is it that they want to do to benefit? If the time you've been in a position of leadership and in a high position, what you've demonstrated is a focus on things that benefit you directly, why would I have any thought of thinking that you've changed? Simply because times have changed. No.
You see nothing.
A lizard isn't a crocodile, and neither is a crocodile a gecko.
Okay. A lizard is not a crocodile. Neither is a crocodile a gecko. This
No.
is true.
None
They're
of them is
reptiles, yes,
Kengi.
but they're not. So I am simply going by what one sees and what I have seen over time, and I'm saying that these are important things that people should do, especially if indeed they do have some benefits. But unfortunately, when they have been tried before, you're talking about coastal political parties that have been there, they need to have them. You need to have lived at the coast to look at and understand some of the very, very dire situations people find themselves in.
Yeah.
And now, when you've had a county system where people actually have money, and you're still talking the same thing about people living in desperate conditions, and then some of the people who are fronting this union, come cluster, come whatever it is, oversaw situations where these dire situations did not change.
Okay,
How can I possibly think that it's going to be anything positive?
City, all right, so
Yes.
the beautiful thing about opinion is that even if you formed it in your mind, that you can change it and that it can be influenced by, other thought, right? So even as you speak, then I look at it because I do, and it's one of the things that folks have understood about the wanton, serious poverty in some areas of the coast. We know this.
Abject.
Yeah. And that devolution brought about a situation that had never been seen in some of these places before. So what I hear you saying is that these people coming together as would-be leaders, saying that it is time that the development agenda was ranked up a notch. What you're saying is that, number one, they've done it before. They've done this caucusing before. But number two is that each of these individuals who came, these 50 odd so, have had or currently have their hands in a position whereby they have or they can do something about this
At their own local level.
and convincingly they can do something about it.
Can.
And we are not seeing any kind of movement towards some of these things happening, save for the odd one that we know, Salim Mvurya and the work that he did in Kwale, some of the work that we saw happen in Taita Taveta, for sure.
There's still high poverty levels in Kwale.
Understood. But we're saying some of the. That's why I said some of the work. I didn't say that it was. I didn't say it was
Still
complete.
many who don't go to school in Kwale.
Now, my point is this: if these individuals
It's an
have
improvement from the past, Eric. That's what
exactly,
you're saying, yes.
if these people have held positions or still hold positions whereby something significant can be done, what I hear you saying then is that. Don't come and sit and tell us that we want to now go and meet the president to be able to sort out development in our backyard when we can do something about it, at least start making some steps as we currently are.
You even have the resources to do so.
That's true. But Siti, there are things that can be done at local level. There are things that need to be initiated at national level. Those that are initiated at national level have a national conversation.
Yes.
Now, you cannot have a national conversation disjointedly if you're talking about the same region with sort of similar issues to be discussed. It's the coastline. How do you benefit from the coastline? It's the ports. How do you make sure that these ports are actually benefiting the people? It's the regional economy, which has in many ways things that are common. How do you make sure that they benefit? Okay, all right, that is on one hand. Then on the other hand, there are those things that they can do as local leaders, as governors, as members of the National Assembly, as senators, in agitating for them, which they haven't said they are stopping to do. The governors are not saying now, until now we meet with the president, hata siendi kwa ofisi. No, they will still do those things. They will still do the issues that concern ECD. They'll still work on agriculture. They will still work on health. But then some things require participation of national government and action by the national government.
Eric, I do agree. It is important.
And that's why they focused on those issues that require, that they say, so we are together on this, on issues that require national action, we are going to engage with the president.
Okay.
Then the next thing, now let's ask them, now on the issues that are cross-cutting but are devolved, how do you engage? Jumuiya ya County za Pwani, come in and have a conversation.
The thinking behind it is right. The ideas being talked about are good. All I'm saying is this. You shall know them by their fruit. It is not a very complicated concept. Political power rests in people. It may seem like it's an exaggerated perspective, but it is. Those who are powerful politically have people rallying behind them in large numbers. Now, if this caucus can convince the people of the coast of the agenda, then they will have enough power to achieve what it is that they are talking about. Do I see that happening? No.
You have no hope.
No, it's not hope. I have hope.
But
I have hope.
but
I have hope. The only way you have clout, and the starting point is a good one. Let's forget our political differences, which is not going to be possible. But let's just pretend we've forgotten our political differences and let's talk with one voice. Okay, let's move on with the pretend. Now, let's not pretend, but let's actually go and see the president and tell him this is what we want to do. The president will listen. So what is this thing that you are promising the president? Because if you're assuming that by going together you will convince the president, so what is this thing beyond the numbers of 50 of you who've gone to see the president? What is this thing that the president will get? Because for you to convince someone to do something for you, they must also feel that there's something they're gaining. What is the president going to get, apart from meeting the 50 of you and talking to you?
the
What is it?
negotiation, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
what are you presenting?
Yes, okay, you've told him what you want, yeah, but what exactly are you giving him in return? And do you have it? The thing he would need most, a president needs not just support from leaders. The support from leaders makes sense when it represents numbers. So, is that what you're saying? That's the reason why handshakes have worked better from what we've seen. So, if this is something new that is going to work, it will be wonderful because for the first time, the coastal region will actually have the might that it has needed to be able to bring about change. And that will be a beautiful thing. Long overdue.
Then maybe politically you can look at it from like what the president is expecting to gain from Nyanza. You know, inroads, some political rapprochement with the people.
Yes.
If the people of the coast see these three items were presented to the president and then they see some activity on them, the president can now come and claim, you see people, I am one who has delivered on some of the things that your leaders brought. So you can go in there and say, and he'll have some acceptance,
It
some
does.
ground to convince the people.
Eric, you're very right. But if you take, for instance, the visit to Nyanza as an example, it actually points to what I'm trying to say. You see, there are people in the Ruto government right now who come from the Nyanza region. Okay? If you look at that trip to Nyanza, we spoke about it when our friend Manyora was here. The people who you saw talking with the president were ODM stalwarts. And we did say, for this to work this way, Raila Odinga must have given a nod. Why? If you're talking about the voting population in that region, Raila Odinga has the last say when it comes to what happens because he's the one who has that massive support. Okay? So, you can look at it the way you want. But if you listen to even what the president was saying when he was there, when he gave the analogy of saying, look, folks, there was a time I came here and Raila and I were looking for this thing, okay? And I've got it. What's the difference? Political language. And exactly what you're saying, you're appeasing people and telling them, guys, I never actually left. I'm just, different outfit, but I am the same
guy.
I'm the same person. At the heart of it is the nod comes from somebody who can promise numbers. Now, let's go back to the coast and ask. The fragmentation of the coast when it comes to leadership and even political parties and affiliations. What is this that can be on offer? Everything that is being spoken of is good. There is nothing wrong with what is being said. That need, as I said, it is long overdue. But what are you bringing to the table as you go to make your requests?
Tulete mkeka bana, tualete zulia. Rais ukija coast sasa utakanyanga zulia. Sawa bana. Let's take a break. 26 minutes to 8, Kenya's biggest conversation. Happy Mashujaa Day, wherever you tuned in. Yes, that is City Muga. People are asking, where is City?
He's here, Mama.
City is here. Let's look at traffic. Tell us about traffic in Kericho. You know all those things. People arriving from which side, please use this road. People arriving from which side, use this road. Look for that one and tell us.
Spice.
Take heed and make hay while the sun still shines. Cabinet Secretary says having a share certificate is not enough for anyone who wants to claim ownership of any parcel of land. Anyone who is currently occupying public land should vacate with immediate what? Immediate effect, according to Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome. In what looks like a move to play catch-up in order to avert more Kenyans from losing their property, as it happened at the Mvoka land case, the CS said the eviction processes will be implemented by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the Anti-Recovery Agency, and the National Police Service. She was recently transferred, of course, from the Water Ministry. She's also warned Kenyans that having a share certificate is not enough for anyone to claim ownership of any piece of land. She says the ministry wishes to send out a strong message that any person on public land should vacate with immediate effect. I wish to advise the public that there are people out there conning members of the public to buy land using share certificates. Share certificates are not legal documents to confirm ownership. So if you come wagging a share certificate in my face, I will just tell you, sorry, you don't own that land. She was accompanied by the ministry's principal secretary, Nixon Korir, and they asked Kenyans to carry out due diligence by checking the status of the parcels they want to purchase from the Lands Ministry, where they will be given maps from the Survey Department. In relation to the Mavoko land, which has hit the headlines, Ms. Wahome and Mr. Korir said records at the ministry clearly show that it belongs to East Africa Portland Cement Company. So according to them, go to the ministry today. This land that all of you were divvying up and buying belongs to East Africa Portland Cement Company. She said any other documents purporting to be held in respect to the said land do not originate from this office. So wherever you got them from, River Road, Ardi House, that now is up to you. The ministry has already forwarded the relevant documents to the Office of the Director of Criminal Investigations to support them in the ongoing investigations. So she said two things here. One, if you are on public land, please, before these three agencies in the name of the police, the Recovery Authority, and the EACC get to you, just move. Whether you've erected a pole, whether you've erected a building, whether you've pitched a tent, just go. Because these three agencies have now been given the mandate to deal with you perpendicularly.
Okay. And how far into history are we going with this?
So long as it is public land.
Not so far. Let's just keep it to
the current.
For now. Okay? So then the issue that, of course, that has grabbed everybody's attention in terms of what has happened at Mavoko, she's saying, all these people who said they did a search. Remember, we had a gentleman here who said, we went to Ardi House.
Ardi House.
We went and we saw that actually this land belongs to Aimi,
Malu, Kenya.
Yeah.
What P.S. Nixon Korir is calling Aimima.
What he says is Aimima. Now there, Alice Wahome said, sorry, it is very clear at the ministry that this land belongs to East Africa Portland Cement Company. So wherever you people saw whatever you saw, it was a mirage. It is not true.
No.
So those are two things that she has said. If you're on public land, move. This other issue, it is still, this is the position of government, that this land. But she said what we want to do is this thing that I'm telling you forwardly. We are trying to avoid the situation that happened at Mavoko so that we don't come and start putting people into a difficult situation in the terms of demolitions. So I'm just telling you now, please, so that nobody will come and do what? Cry later. It's a strong message that has been sent out. So I don't know what's supposed to happen. If you've built on this land, do you carry your house literally on your back like a tortoise?
Strong
and go?
messages. Huh?
She's done several things. Though.
What?
She's absolved the Ministry of Lands completely. Says, essentially, this thing you're saying that you can go there, do a search, and you're given information. No. That cannot. That doesn't happen.
You went to River Road. And you saw some Ardi House there in River Road.
And then
that
he
was
said,
not.
that is not Ardi House.
Ardi House.
Us.
That's not that.
Nope.
That's in our books.
We are in community.
Yes.
You where you went
It's not community.
It's not community.
So you. All right.
Number one.
Then,
Number two.
She has also said that you know something. We are not responsible. And we here don't Ministry of Lands. See, me, I'm CS Gava. You go and put a building. You buy plot, and it's government land. You, not us, you. And that is before ethics and DCI.
An anti-recovery agency.
They come for you.
Yeah.
Okay, now, let's look at the anatomy of wrongdoing. Usually it involves more than one person for it to actually be enacted. Fine. This person has, in their utter and complete and undiluted foolishness, gone and bought a piece of land that doesn't belong to the person who's selling it. The person who's selling it knows they're selling a falsehood. Is there a law in this country that prohibits people from committing falsehoods and present them as the truth? That other person is going to suffer enormously for their mistakes. There's no question about it. They'll pay dearly. But what about the other person who has made it possible? We have an interesting aspect of our law with regards to stolen goods.
Yeah.
When you are the person who buys stolen goods, your punishment tends to be even greater than the one who actually sold you the stolen goods. So I'm asking the question, what is it about the issue of land and these same laws? Why is it that in somebody gets a slap on the back or a nudge on the shoulder, whereas the other one, they just stop short of cutting off your neck? Why?
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy what we see here. And, I'm just listening to the current Cabinet Secretary for Land speaking as she's speaking. And I'm reminded of previous Cabinet Secretaries for Land speaking as she is speaking today.
Right now.
Yeah.
Public
We've
land
seen it
get off.
before. When people were accused of invading Kenya Airports Authority land here in Chokimau and their
just
homes
round the
were
corner
demolished, same things were heard. Okay, that was a couple of years ago. Let's just go into last year. When people were accused of moving into land that belonged to Athi Water Board,
Yes.
up, was it Korogocho?
Yes.
And their homes were demolished.
Yes.
It was the same thing. When some people who had built on some piece of land in Ruai and their homes were demolished, we had the same thing. Okay? And some of those who are now reminding us about our responsibility were talking about responsibility of somebody else who was the government then.
Yes.
So these stories are just stories that we are hearing from our cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries in the Ministry of Lands. There is rot at Athi House. And unless Alice is coming out and saying, yes, I admit that there's something that is happening here and I am going to address it. But in the meantime, please, if you have heard, there's public land A, B, C, D. These people who purport to be selling you pieces of land are criminals. And DCI, these are their names, please deal with them. That would be something.
Yes.
But coming to say, today, if you own a share certificate, what are you saying?
That you don't actually
What
own
are
the
you
land.
saying?
This penchant we have for pussyfooting around matters and not wanting to actually hit the nail on the head is a problem.
They are criminals.
They are criminals. You know who they are. You know where they exist. You know where the problem is. But what you're going to do, and they're right here looking at you, but you decide, let me turn around and actually face the complete other direction and talk about things which don't matter.
Yep.
Until and unless you're ready to hit the nail on the head, you're going to continue having these issues. People will continue crying. You continue demolishing people's houses. You will continue coming out to warn people and tell them, oh, you know what, actually, if you don't have a share, fix the thing. And that's where we go wrong. You know where the problem is. So you keep asking yourself, why am I sick? I keep getting a headache. I'm tired. I'm what? Meanwhile, you have the results of a test that you did. And they're telling you, this is the medicine that you take. You refuse to take it. But then you say, I'm feeling sick. What do you expect? What do you expect to happen? People, time without number, have come and they've told us, we have gone. This is my land. I even have a title. But in the registry, it is somebody else's name. What Houdini thing is this that is being done? Some black magic voodoo combined with all kinds of things happen, and we're all right with it. And it's a sickness.
And nobody ever pays the price. I mean, the perpetrators, the thieves, the fraudsters never pay the price. Amos Kimunya told us piece of paper. James Orengo told us piece of paper. Think
Everyone.
back.
And who is bearing
Kaimenyi told us piece of paper. Think back to whoever you want to put as lands minister at
And
the
you
time.
know, she's talking about a share certificate not equaling ownership. My friend, even a title deed today doesn't guarantee your ownership of land, from what we've been told.
No. Can we ask the question? Who issued that so-called certificate?
It is this Aimimalu Kenya.
Yeah, precisely. So,
This Aimimalu Kenya people are giving you some share certificate, allotment letter, whatever, with a copy of mother title.
Mother title.
This mother title is what we are going now to later subdivide and give you your own title.
Okay, I have a question. Allotment letter, is this something I can go to my computer and just make my own?
Yes.
yes, you
I
can.
exactly.
You can even, if you know the right app, you can even age it so that it looks like, it's
Something
around-
that came from 1762.
Exactly.
It was being
Yes,
made
you can.
in some offices in Mavoko.
That's it.
Because
You
we are
can make
saying
for
that
yourself.
you are getting an allotment letter basically as a share into the Aimimalu Kenya Society. As a member of the Aimimalu Kenya Society and having paid some, it is not purchase price. It is just facilitation fee, like they were saying. You're not buying. It is just facilitation fee that is 300,000 shillings for 50 by 100 and so on and so forth. So because you've paid the required facilitation fee and administration fee because you have to maintain the office and printing money equaling 300,000 shillings, here is your allotment letter, aka share certificate. And
Proof of ownership.
this is a copy of the mother title that shows that we own this land, LR number this, IR number this.
And meanwhile, you can go to Ministry of Lands and check.
Yes.
You see, what
By the time you make your way from Mavoko to Ministry of Lands,
It's there.
it's there.
Yes. You know, what I find scary, we had a conversation again with another CS of lands, and it was about this digitalization of everything within the lands ministry.
Yeah.
And there was this question we asked about foolproofing that particular system, and we were assured. At that time, the problem seemed to be people who will interact with it. Now, we have been able to see something about digitalization in our courts and how it works. I speak as somebody who has participated in such a process. It works. When I put a link, you are there. You can. It works. Lands, we are now being told that it is possible, and the blame is people within lands who are able to change certain details to suit purposes of whoever it is has paid them.
Made
to
the
do so.
inquiry.
Paid them to
Paid-
do so.
yes.
Because, so you own the land, and this one is not share certificate. You've actually owned this land. When you go to renew the lease, you suddenly find it is somebody else's
You're
name.
not the one who owns
Yes.
the land.
Your lease hasn't actually expired yet. Okay? This is in lands. Now, surely, Madam CS, it's happening in lands. Same lands. Now, if that is happening at the level where security is supposed to be at its very highest, what then this simple thing of simply writing down that this is what the details that you require, that one doesn't require any security. You hand in that piece of paper and somebody looks for information and gives you. How is that difficult?
Big time criminals in this country walk scot free. Okay? We've had many cases of pyramid schemes in this country. Billions of shillings lost. Oh, some inquiry here and there, here and there, here and there. Is there anybody in jail today? Do we have a band made of in jail today because of the pyramid schemes that we've had in this country?
I haven't heard of it.
Sijui said, what are they called?
Wait.
Something. Those ones.
There was two main ones, and
Yes.
yes.
Billions lost. Jail, nobody. Land fraudsters. Here in Mavoko, many times we've heard of many cases where land belonging to the public has been sold to other people, where land belonging to this and the other has been sold. They don't go. Even going beyond this, we are talking about an operation in the north of the country, in those counties, right? People have been killed, people have been maimed, people's livelihoods have been destroyed because of some criminal elements. Yes, Kithure Kindiki and the defense ministry are out there with the majeshi on the boots on the ground. Has anybody been taken to court?
Nope.
This thing of government always protecting these big-time thugs and criminals needs to come to an end. You cannot come and say, okay, you have been warned. There were several caveats in the papers. There were billboards. There were this and the other. As you're placing the caveat in the paper and the billboard, you are therefore saying that there's somebody who's a criminal.
There's something going on which is wrong.
Who is perpetrating some criminal activity. Get them. At that point, say,
Because
listen, this is a thug. He's trying to con people first. Let's remove the thug from the society. And then let's warn everybody else. If this thug had some collaborators and they come to you, just remember. Tell us about them and don't participate. That's sufficient warning. You can't be sitting back and telling us, there are some people who claim to own this piece of land and this piece of land.
you've distanced yourself from
these
it.
people, please don't buy. And if you buy, buyer beware.
You've not only distanced yourself from that, but what you've actually done is you've actually informed us that you do not consider it your responsibility to actually take the oath of office that you took seriously. That oath of office involves protecting people. It does. The Constitution, yes, but protecting people. The moment you mention the Constitution in an oath, everything that's in it, my friend, you've sworn to it.
You've sworn to it,
Yes.
essentially. Yes, you have.
And our Constitution is so very, very clear as to the role that the Mwananchi has in this particular country.
The thing here is that we ask us, these demolitions that we saw last week and into the beginning of this week was severe, right? When we look at the severe loss. But they're not the first ones that have happened. Like you said, there were some last year. They've been regular. So should we not be asking ourselves, beyond saying if you're on public land, get out, but should we not be asking ourselves, just like you're saying, that there are criminal elements when it comes to the buying and selling of land in Kenya today?
You've been there for the longest time.
If we're raising the alarm and saying that quite a number of people who quote unquote own land today actually don't own it because it's been fraudulent in terms of the process, then what is being done to streamline that? What is being done to eliminate these rogue elements? What is actually being done to clean up the system? When we looked at the digitalization of lands operations in Kenya through now Arvisasa and all of this, what did people say? That, now what you've done is that you've made it even more. You've entrenched it deeper to guarantee that corruption and impunity was going to be rife here. That's what you've done. Because you can digitalize from here until tomorrow. But if you do not deal with the elements that everybody knows is perpetuating these things, then we can just keep talking, but it's not going to go anywhere. That you will continue to have these demolitions, because why? Because people continue to spend their hard-earned savings and money purchasing land that does not belong to them. Or does not belong to the people who are selling it.
Yep.
And they know very well who it belongs to. And as uncomfortable as you want to be, that there are people very high up in the food chain who are the perpetrators of this thing. If you're not going to come to terms with that, if you're not going to accept that reality, and if you're not going to be ready to deal with it, be ready for more cries, be ready for more tears, be ready for more demolitions in the name of cleaning up a system. It's going to continue to happen. It will.
Do you actually think that there's any sincerity
No.
when it is, yeah?
It isn't.
Because, they are not selling land on some other planet and then coming to give certificates in Kenya. Everything is happening right here. And the people perpetrating it are Kenyans. And the moment you're a Kenyan, people know you. People know what you do. And this has been going on for quite some time. So the hard question that has to be asked is, why have they done nothing about it?
Even the ones who come and cry after the demolition, questions must be asked.
Actually, anybody who's been in a position of leadership in this particular county here has to be asked, what role did you play?
Yeah. When these things were happening, whatever role
what
you
role
played.
did you play? Because you're in leadership.
Yeah.
Whether you're an MC, whether you're an MP, whether you're a senator, whether you're a governor, what did you do? What role did you play?
Yeah.
And not current. Former, current.
And current.
Yes.
Where were you as this was going on? When Alpha Mutua was even calling a press conference and saying, people, please, I'm cautioning you, do not go in here. We are not giving any approvals for any development in this particular area because, all right? When he was doing all those things, who else spoke with him? Who else spoke with him? Who else listened? At that point, where was the Ministry of Lands?
And he wrote to them,
Yeah.
spoke about
Did the
it.
Ministry of Lands come out and say, people, the only title deed here
Or
is...
stop the press. What
Yeah.
exactly is going on? Let's hold any kind of sale. Because, okay, a quick one. When there is sale, land one to the next, the ministry at one point or another is involved.
Yes.
And it is no transaction you will do whereby the ministry is not involved.
If it's land, they have to be involved.
Abi. So that it's not possible that you say, oh, people were selling land. We did not know. Oh, people were buying land. We did not know. No.
Although in this particular case, because there's no actual transfer of the land title, and the land ministry is only involved at a point of a window somewhere called search.
You see, the question that I would ask here,
And that search window is where now they're telling us you guys were searching in River Road.
what does the government
Yeah,
do?
you guys were searching in River Road. Meanwhile, we are here. Pin says community. You were searching downtown. We are here.
Hii ni mchezo.
Big time.
Okay. The conversations continue into the next hour. Happy Mashujaa Day, wherever you're tuned in this morning. We're celebrating the Shujaas of this country, and you are one of them. And as we mark this year's Mashujaa Day, let's remember that, you know what, heroes are those in the community. Don't think about those ones in the past, oh, they did this for independence. Those are heroes, but there are everyday heroes as well. Do you recognize any of them? Do you celebrate them? We should, because they are our everyday heroes. Good morning, it's 8 a.m.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.